whenever you have this infusion of young talent, it's easy to kind of look over some of the older guys, even those that are newcomers that have experience elsewhere. And, I think we can all fall victim to that. I'm, EJ Horton, West Virginia wide receiver, is one guy that I've got my eyes on this spring, and we're going to talk about him here today. I'm Scott Callahan. You are watching Between the Ears here on Mountaineers Now. We thank you guys for tuning in each and every single day throughout the week. And look, there's going to be a lot of talk about Rodney Gallagher and his growth. How can he become an all-around complete player? Because in year one, as a true freshman, he's coming in as just a playmaker, just somebody that they needed to get the ball in his hands. He hadn't played very much receiver at all before he landed in Morgantown. He was playing quarterback. He was doing this. He was doing that. He was playing multiple sports. He hasn't had that opportunity to just put all of his focus into football and at receiver. What's that growth look like? What does that growth look like for Traylon Ray physically? Is he becoming much stronger and able to handle one-on-one press coverage better? Is that something that he's making progress in? Hudson Clement, what's he look like in year two? Those are all valid questions. And those are all things that I'm just as curious as anybody to find out when we see here in the spring how much progress they've made in just a few months since the bowl game. But there's one piece in all of this that I think, again, is getting kind of lost in the fold here. And that's EJ Horton. 10 catches for 201 yards and a touchdown in very limited playing time for West Virginia this past season. And I was somebody that was expecting him to have a much bigger impact than he did. But things happen. The young kids kind of impressed in the back half of the season. And Cole Taylor at tight end really stepped up, which took up some targets, obviously. But there was a part of it too where I think he just couldn't figure out what his role really was. He was still trying to learn the playbook, master it, understand what he is being asked to do. And I think that's why we saw limited action for him here in Morgantown in year one. So what does year two look like for him? That's really kind of my biggest question mark on the offensive side, because we know what we're going to get out of CJ Donaldson and Jaheim White, Garrett Green, the offensive line, the young kids you would expect they're going to take a big step, but there's still going to be a little bit of a learning curve. There's going to be bumps in the road in year two. Sophomore slumps are a legit thing. But EJ Horton's like the one wild card that nobody is talking about. I mean, this kid can absolutely fly. One of the fastest kids on the team, and it's really not even close. Neil Brown has even said before, like, he's the best straight line guy they got. He can just take the top off of defense. We saw it happen a couple of times in 2023. Is he somebody that makes that? I'm not saying he has to make that gigantic leap where he's going to go for 700-800 yards, but can he at least get you 300 to 500 yards? I mean, is that reasonable? I mean, I would think so. With his speed, his yak ability, his yards after a catch. But again, he didn't really turn that corner at any point in 2023. And I'm not going to blame him for that. That's developing chemistry at the quarterback. That's understanding your role. It's understanding the offense. There's a lot that goes into that. Year two is usually in just about every situation where you start to see that light bulb turn on. But is there room for him? That's another question that maybe gets thrown into this. You add Jaden Bray, from Oklahoma State, who everybody is just excited about, and rightfully should be. If you haven't got to really get a close up of what Jaden Bray looks like, just go back and watch the West Virginia game from this past season between Oklahoma State and WVU. He's pretty good. He's going to be a huge addition to that wide receiver room, and what I think ultimately end up being a bigger impact player than what Devin Carter was in his lone season at WVU. So I think what EJ's got to do is he's got to figure out what that role is going to look like here in the spring. And it's not to be that 700-800 yard guy. If he develops into that, that's tremendous. That's great. That means that the overall health of that wide receiver room is even better than what we had perceived. But if he can find that role and just really thrive in it, I think he's got a chance. I think he's got a chance to be a key player in this offense. I think he's got a chance to even potentially do something at the next level. Not saying he would be a draft pick. I'm not saying that he'd be in the league for 10 years, but you need to have something put on tape to even get that UDFA opportunity, to get that invite to rookie minicamp. And I mean, the kid's he's got so much speed. It's hard to not think he can't get that opportunity. So he's the wild card for me. He really is. He's got it, so much speed, so much home run ability that if he fully lives up to the expectations, it's going to be a scary sight for opposing defense, because not only do they have to worry about all the headaches with the run game, and then you have all these young receivers plus a Jaden Bray, but then you also got this guy that, hey, if he's on the field, safeties better be ready, because he's going to blow by these corners that are maybe going to try and press cover him. If they're sitting in zone coverage, which would probably be a better idea, then that's where he's got to come into play and figure out how to work in the zones, find the soft spots. But he's the wild card, 1,000%. And I think he's the one thing that can really take this offense from the potential of where maybe it could be to something that we're not even thinking about. Because, again, we know what we're getting out of everybody else just about on this offense. EJ Horton is the one we really have no idea. It's either going to be what we saw this past year, or he's going to get 25 to 30 catches and 500 some yards. You get that end of it, you're in good shape. Garrett Green's going to be airing that thing out all day long down the field, 30, 35-yard bombs, maybe even more. So let me know your thoughts on EJ Horton. Does he find that role? Does he thrive in it? Does he make this offense go to its next level? We'll find out here in a couple of months when spring ball gets going. Actually, next month. I'm already behind here. I'm still thinking it's January, but March is when spring ball comes back around. So we'll see if there's been any progress made for EJ Horton. Major wild card. But man, if he finds that role, watch out. That's all I got to say. That's it for me here today. I'm Skylar Callan here on Between the Ears. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now. Give us a like and a follow on X at the same handle, and we'll be back here tomorrow morning.